Horrifying moments. How Russia lost 1,140 troops and 32 artillery systems in the past 24 hours. Russian forces in Ukraine have lost 1,140 troops and 32 artillery systems in the past 24 hours, as the poor weather conditions fail to halt high casualty rates and equipment losses along the front line. Moscow's troops have now lost a total of 327,580 fighters in the 21 months of war, according to updated figures from the Ukrainian military on Wednesday. Russia, losing 32 artillery systems in the past day, brings Kyiv's total losses to 1,708 per Ukraine's figures. Moscow said on Tuesday that 385 Ukrainian soldiers had been killed over the past 24 hours, but did not provide a Russian estimate for total Ukrainian losses over the course of the full-scale war. The Ukrainian military told media that it does not comment on this type of information from Russian sources. It is very difficult to determine casualties in an ongoing conflict, since both sides will try to keep the data secret and inflate the number of adversary casualties. Marina Myron, a postdoctoral researcher in the Department of War Studies at King's College London, UK, told media earlier this year. In late October, figures from the Ukrainian military suggested Russia had surpassed 300,000 casualties since February 2022. In mid-November, the UK's Armed Forces Minister, James Heappey, told British lawmakers that London believed around 302,000 Russian personnel had been killed or wounded since the start of all-out war. Losses of around 300,000 fighters is a quite believable figure. Frederick Mertens, an analyst with the Hague Center for Strategic Studies, told media at the time. Tens of thousands more have already deserted, Heappey said, adding that it was not clear how many fighters in Russian private military companies, such as the Wagner Group, have been killed. Losses are continuing to mount on both sides as Ukraine holds out against Russia's onslaught around the Donetsk town of Avdiivka. Moscow's forces began a concerted push around the town on October 10th, launching several waves of attacks on the heavily fortified settlement that has spent most of the past decade on the front lines. The past 6 weeks have likely seen some of the highest Russian casualty rates of the war so far, the British Defense Ministry said on Monday, adding that this was down to Russia's operations around Avdiivka. The assault on Avdiivka kicked off after months of Ukrainian counteroffensive efforts, which failed to make much of a dent in a largely static front line. The summer offensive came ahead of Ukraine's muddy fall and freezing winter seasons, which have now settled in across the south and east of the country. As the start of the second winter of their renewed war looms, both Ukraine and Russia are trying to beef up their air defenses. For Kyiv, effective defenses could decide whether Ukrainians freeze during another campaign of Russian missile and drone attacks on Ukraine's cities and critical infrastructure. For Russia, the ability to knock down Ukraine's drones and Western-supplied missiles will be crucial to whether Russian troops can maneuver and be resupplied during upcoming ground operations. For both sides, capable air defense systems are vital for countering the constant presence of surveillance and explosive drones over the battlefield, where they can paralyze military operations. Despite Russia's attempts to suppress them at the start of the war, Ukraine's air defense forces have proven remarkably effective at using a mix of Soviet-era systems, such as the S-300 and Buk anti-aircraft missiles, as well as Western weapons such as US-made Patriot missiles and German-built Gepard anti-aircraft guns. But after 2 years of incessant barrages by Russian missiles and waves of Russian and Iranian-made drones, Ukraine is running low on air defense missiles and cannon ammunition. The US and European countries are scrambling to boost defense production to resupply Ukraine. But as their output ramps up slowly, they are dipping deep into domestic stockpiles to support Kyiv, while scouring the world for missiles and ammunition compatible with Ukraine's Soviet-era equipment. To meet their needs with what they have right now, the US and Ukraine have turned to a quick fix: the Frankensam, which mates Western-built missiles with Soviet-designed launchers and radars. America has ample stocks of AIM-7 and AIM-9M missiles, as well as the RIM-7 naval variant, that it has already supplied to Ukraine for air defense. Only Russia still builds missiles for the Soviet-designed air defense systems Ukraine is using. And Kyiv and its backers now face a basic structural problem after 2 years of buying up all the missiles available around the world. For those weapons, according to Michael Kofman, an American expert on the Russian military at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace.
Пострел! Пострел!
Tu cai pro bunker.
Вышли.